Oh, you know what that sound means. That sound means it is time for Bodies and Wicks. Bodies and Wicks, it is weekend edition. Evidently, I did not hide myself the entire time. It was just like showing me, and I had no idea. I could have swore I had it on opening and never mind. Either way, anyway. either way, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Next thing I wanted to check out is Litecoin. Litecoin has barely just made it into my, it came up for a little bit, and it came back down and hit the 265. And I knew as soon as it would hit the 265, boom, it would go right back up. Thank God I was holding since 245. So how did I know that was going to hit 265? Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but whenever you see some kind of mountainous range like this, right? And I actually have what is called a 4-hour gap. So you have to actually go to the 4-hour level to find this. So you have to go from here to here to find this level, right? And once it gets back up past this level, it's going to come back down. And once it does come back down and touch it, it's going to come back up, right? The hardest part is getting above that level. Usually what it'll want to do is it'll want to, and actually the thing is that the easiest thing is that it went right through the 4-hour gap. So usually when it goes right through the 4-hour gap, it usually has no problems trying to find its way through it, but it still could take some time. But most of the times, generally what it'll do, it'll tap the 4-hour gap, pull down, tap the 4-hour gap, pull down, tap the 4-hour gap, and you'll notice this. If you keep going, backtracking, and you study and you study and you study, you'll notice these things, right? So next thing I wanted to get to was Solana. It was weird. Solana, I could have swore I had at least 4 Solana in my yeah, I just dabble here and there. I always try to make sure I have a little bit of everything. At least 4 Solana in my portfolio. Now I looked today and I only had like 1 point something, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. So of course I had to buy more Solana. So I do have 4 Solana. Wasn't exactly at the price that I wanted it to be. It did get lower than, you know, it wasn't. I probably should have waited. I probably should have waited until it got to the point to where I wanted it to, right around about the 37.8 mark. That's exactly where I wanted to get to, and the reason I think it's going to get to exactly the 37.8 mark is because of, again, these green lines. Whenever you see these green lines take off, have no back action, right? So you can see that the green takes off, back action, green takes off, back action, green takes off, back action, green takes off. Eventually it has back action. So, you know, that's what I was looking for, and it didn't have that. So Solana, to me, I'm looking for that 38 era, that 38 area, 38.8, $36.8, 38.256, somewhere around in there where Solana is gonna make a big break. I think that's my personal opinion. I am not any kind of here. I should actually get my face off the thing so well you guys can actually see the screen a little bit better. That way I'm not always blocking you. There we go. The Solano, I believe 36, 38, 36, 38, somewhere in between there. Mark my words, I guarantee as it hits that, it's probably gonna have some good bumpage. Now, that being said, one of the things I still am having hope for, and I've yet to see it have hope for yet, but man, big data protocol, something's gotta happen with it, man. Something's just gotta happen with it. I mean, got as low as 1.7 today. I mean it's got as high as almost $5. Something has got to happen with big data protocol. It can't just be one of those ones that just to the dirt and nothing happens. Actually has really good fundamentals. Anything any kind of data companies want to buy. Companies are always looking for any way to secure multiple amounts of data the fastest way they can, and that's what big data protocol does. So it just may not be just there yet, and it may not, and maybe because it's not on many called crypto sites. Could be just the fact that it's not on many crypto sites. I have been looking around, and let me check it out here. And data protocol, I found it on Gate. Of course, I found it on Gate because Gate has everything. Well, Gate doesn't have everything. This is the only thing that has Gate. I switch back and forth between Gate and Hydra, or not Gate and Hydra, but Gate and KuCoin. The reason I switch back and forth between the two because they're the two that have the most that I want that I can get. Like I can get XRP on KuCoin. I can get XMR on KuCoin, but I can't get those on Gate. But I can get Solana on KuCoin. I can get big data protocol on KuCoin, but I can't get those on KuCoin. So I'm always going back and forth between KuCoin. Now, thing is that diluted market cap has went up, but the volume is just so. Supply is. I think that's what it is. I think the circulating supply is outnumbering what is being sold. So I think once that number catches up to it, it will in a lot better stance. And right now it is showing down 0.52. Bitcoin up 0.7 Ethereum. Eventually I think it'll get there. We'll have to see and wait and see how things are going, but I still think big data protocol is going to be a number one in investing. Gotta wait for it, gotta hang on to it. I believe in it, gotta believe in it too. There's just some things that you gotta believe in, and those are one of the very few things that I do. Another one I believe in, and I really haven't talked about it lately, and I'll talk about it really quick, is Ravencoin. It's because Ravencoin is kind of stalled out for a second, and I think if anything, it may have gotten a little bit lower than what it normally was. No, it's about at 17 again. Okay. Yeah, it's been about at 17 for quite some time. Wow, I actually can't believe it got lower than that. Where am I? I'm on the 15-minute. That's a good news. Oh, and it's also creeping up on the high level liquidity, which means it could be taking out this high level liquidity, which means people are going to be trying to short it now that that it's been low, and they're like, oh, it's just going to get lower, and now that we're going to try to short it, the big game people are actually run it. Gonna run it. Probably gonna run it pretty good too, because if you look at this, oh my god, I just now saw this. I couldn't believe I just now saw this. So look from here all the way over here. That could probably even extend it further. How far it goes out. There we go. So doesn't have too much farther to go. Still the 17-cent mark. Once it breaks this cent mark, I think right around the 18th mark, then we should start seeing some higher action. We get going from there. Next piece I wanted to talk about, Litecoin. Oh yeah, live peer. Live peer has been something that's really been interesting. I honestly don't really know what it does, but I bought into it at a fairly decent amount, and I'm glad I did. And it's been very well to me ever since. Had its ups and its downs. I think of when I bought it, I probably bought it sometime around in here, because it was somewhere around 25-26 bucks, and I really, like I said, I really don't know what it does. I wish I could tell you what the fundamentals of it are, but all I can tell you is that live peer is one of those things you need to watch out for. Could be I don't know if I'd Filecoin, but it could be another runner that you could see out of nowhere. Might catch your eye. Who knows? Maybe just having a couple shares of it could 2x, 3x. You know, selling off a couple of those shares and you're putting the big pile bank and doing what's needed to be done. Last one thing I want to talk about was Dodo. Dodo has been now what has happened with Dodo is that it did break really big high today. I think it got all the way up to $8, I want to say. But yeah, Dodo. Got the $5. Okay, so got the $5 right now. What it's doing, dropped all the way back down. It cleared out all that liquidity, cleared it all out, so there is no more downside liquidity. And even if there was any downside liquidity, I think it has balanced it all out. What do I mean by balanced it all out? Well, there is a little bit of a game down in here. That's not much. It's going to be really tough to get back down to. Did break this high. After it broke that high, then that's where we probably need to pull the fib, see where it's going. I personally think since it's touched this twice, that means it is going higher. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's touched it twice, that means that you know, it's going to continue selling from there. And that's what everybody's thinking. Everybody's continuing sell because it has these two continuous highs. It has these two equal highs. So if it has two equal highs, generally what people think is that that's the resistance. So here is the highs that I'm talking about. Came up, come down, came up, come down. Yeah. Not be a breaker, this would be a mitigation point. Which is what that exactly was. Exactly what that was. That was exactly a mitigation. Here. That. Yes, okay. Okay, so came down right down into the 62.62% level, which came out to exactly mitigation point from point right here. Wow, can't even get any better. We have this part comes up, Market comes down. No mitigation. So, what does mitigation mean? Mitigation means that kind of hard to explain. Basically, everybody was pushing this down as hard as they could, right? All the big name players, the big money makers, that they're playing their own game. They sold everything they could. Not everything they could, but they sold off a lot. They made a big leverage bet, and so once they made a big leverage bet, once they got to a comfortable point, then they bought back up. So once they bought back up, then they knew probably about a good spot to let go that trade and make more money off of it. Unfortunately, they were still holding this negative trade, and while they were still holding this negative trade, it came back all the way back down to this point right here. And once it came back down to this point right here, they let go of that trade, and then now there's zero left. So now they made everything off this trade, off this up trade, and they made zero off this down trade because of the force that they put onto what was going on to make the buy. If that makes any sense. Usually easier for me to draw it, but I'm not really in the mood for drawing right now. It is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I got some things to do, but I still think Dodo is about ready to hit the tops, and we're probably ready to see about I want to say about here we go. I'm gonna predict. I always predict the 150. 150s are the ones I always predict. If it's not the 150s, it's got to be the 200s. So the 150s right here, right, and hundreds. So meaning 1.5 times the original amount, and then 2 times the original amount. So 4.452 and then 4.818. Thanks again for watching Bodies and Wicks. I am your host. Not much of a host, but I am a host, I guess you could say. But I am a host. But what I like to do is I like to do smart money trading. And what I mean by smart money trading is I like to not go into the trend lines and the channels and all the whatever else you call it, you know, what are these things called over here on the side? The ciphers and ABC patterns and the Elliott waves and the triangles. I try to stay away from that because it makes no sense to me. I mean, I understand why people would try to figure out something like that, but to me, everything makes sense by liquidity, by balance. You don't have liquidity and you don't have balance, don't have a trade, right? Because people are always looking for liquidity, try to take other people out where they can take their money, right? That's what liquidity is. Liquidity is the opening of money into the flow of a trade, right? As soon as you can open that money into the flow of the trade, now how do you take it out? That's what liquidity is. And that's what the big bankers are doing, and that's what the big name people are always doing. They're always trying to figure out a new way to do it, and that's what I would always like to try to practice, preach, and look toward try to figure everything else out. So thank you very much for watching. I shall see you on the next side, and remember to always wear